Hello and welcome friends. Blending wines simply means you are combining two or more wines to create a new one. There are several reasons why a winemaker might want to blend wines: to enhance aroma, to improve the color, to add or minimize flavors and tastes, to adjust the pH of a wine, to lower or raise acidity, to raise or lower alcohol levels, to adjust the sweetness of a wine, to correct a wine with too much oak flavor, to raise or lower levels of tannin. Wine blends offer more complexity than single varietal wines. In fact, some of the world's greatest wines are made from a blend of grapes rather than a single varietal. By blending varietals, winemakers can change a wine's qualities. The goal of blending wine made in different vintages is more to balance out the flavor characteristics. Both reds and whites can be made from blends of varietals. In some cases, they may even blend whites and reds together in order to create the best possible combination of aromas and flavors. An excellent example of a wine blended from red and white grapes is Côte Rôtie in France's Rhône region.
I'm going to talk about blended wines. Now, if you're a wine lover, you're probably very used to drinking a wine that's named after the grape varietal. And if you like Cabernet Sauvignon or Zinfandel or Riesling or Chardonnay, you're drinking a varietal wine. It's probably what you're used to. However, if you're drinking one of the famous wines of the old world, say Bordeaux or Côte du Rhône or Châteauneuf-du-Pape, you're drinking a blended wine. Blended means a mixture of many, many different grapes. A lot of times someone that's used to drinking Cabernet Sauvignon will turn their nose up at a blended wine. However, this is one of the oldest traditions in winemaking, and some of the finest wines in the old world are blends. It's also a tradition that's becoming more and more well known throughout the New World. One of the most famous wines of the world is Red Bordeaux. Red Bordeaux is actually a blend of 5 different grapes. Also, they make white wine in Bordeaux. White Bordeaux is a blend of 2 grapes. The white Bordeaux blend is Sauvignon Blanc and Semillon, or what we like to call Semillon Sauvignon. The red Bordeaux blend is, now listen carefully, Cabernet, Cabernet Franc, Malbec, Merlot, Petit Verdot. That's Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Malbec, Merlot, and Petit Verdot. These are just a few of the examples of blended wines throughout the world. They're becoming more and more popular all over. They add to the complexity and balance of a wine. And even though you might not recognize the name, you should give a blended wine a try because it's going to hold a lot of interest in the glass.
Wine is blended in many different ways. As previously discussed, winemakers frequently blend varietals. However, they create other blends as well. Vintage wine blends. Vintage wine blends are different grapes grown in the same vintage or year. Non-vintage blends. Some wines, such as port and champagne among others, blend grapes grown in different vintages in order to balance flavors, tannins, and other wine characteristics. These wines are typically labeled NV or non-vintage. Here are the 5 facts you need to know. Difference between varietals and blends. A standard varietal like Malbec, Chardonnay, etc. is made from the same type of grape. In the US, a varietal needs to be 75% of one type of grape, while in Europe it's generally 80% and in Argentina it's 85%. Blends are what their name suggests. They typically consist of at least 40 to 50% of one type of grape and a smaller mix of 2 or more other grapes. Blending makes wines more complex. Blending is used to maximize the expression of a wine. It can enhance aromas, color, texture, body, and finish, making it a more well-rounded and complex wine. Some single varietals are made for blending. Winemakers will often make a barrel of Malbec, Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, or other wines solely for the purpose of blending. Allotting specific barrels for blending allows them to experiment in finding the best types of mixtures. The idea is to highlight each grape's strength and complement the other grapes being used in the blend. The timeline for mixing wines varies. Winemakers mix blends in a steel tank. Lower cost blends are rarely aged in oak and higher cost blends are generally aged in oak. Some winemakers put blended wines into an oak barrel halfway through the aging process, while others put the wines together 1 to 2 weeks before bottling. Some grapes aren't used for blending. White wines tend to be pure varietals. However, there are some exceptions, particularly in certain regions in Europe where 2 or more white grapes are used. Pinot Noir is a type of grape that is rarely blended. That is why when you are having a Burgundy, it will likely be 100% Pinot Noir. So friends, smell and sip. Have a lovely day ahead.